Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
No, I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Chronicles from the Crypt.
Hello there, I'm Casualty Chris.
And this is Father Malone with my beautiful new microphone.
Oh my god, this guy with his new microphone. Yeah, he has a new microphone, and we're still the hosts of Chronicles from the Crypt, a twice-a-month look at the horror anthology series, Tales from the Crypt, that aired on HBO from 1989 to 1996.
Now, in each of our episodes, we tend to do 2 episodes of the television series Tales from the Crypt. In between, some tangentially related Tales material. We do bonus episodes, which, if you have not yet listened to an episode 2 episodes back where we talk about Bordello of Blood in detail, I highly suggest you check that out. But right now, we're now, I'll say, ankle deep in season 6. We're getting to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We always say that we watch things that are tangentially related. I don't think we've watched anything tangential. Everything we've watched has been pretty on the nose Tales from the Crypt.
Monster Club.
Monster Club still is an anthology series.
It was. I mean, when you say tangentially, it's like, not necessarily based upon the actual property that we're involving ourselves with, but, in the same neighborhood.
Same vein.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're never going to get to that fucking kids game show.
Which is a damn shame.
Well, no, it's not, because the entire thing would be 5 minutes of you and I just going, this is fucking terrible, don't watch it.
I honestly think you should watch it, because it is such a bizarre relic of a time and place that honestly a lot of people didn't even know that it happened, and it just, those kinds of things don't exist anymore.
No, it's actually kind of crazy that it did exist, and as you said, I'm sure most people don't know about it. I would encourage people to just watch one episode on YouTube, and then they'll get it.
There is only one episode on YouTube. There's only one episode on YouTube.
Look, that's all you're going to need to see. It ain't great. It's really bad. I think the cartoon series is probably a little more serious, Tales from the Crypt Keeper, but I'm not going to recommend any of those. Those are terrible.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt Keeper is another weird thing where it's like a children's cartoon based off of a property where women are showing their breasts and people are getting cut up and murdered.
Yeah, I mean, if only they had really gone for it, but they didn't, did they?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. But we're not here to talk about those shows. We're here to talk about the show, Tales from the Crypt. So let's talk about episode 3 and 4 of season 6, Whirlpool and Operation Friendship.
Looks like it's curtains for me, kiddies. Then again, maybe the Venetian blinds would look better. I don't know. When I started this little makeover, I was pretty excited. I thought a little latex paint, some new Scream dolls, maybe even some scare conditioning. I could turn my little domicile into a regular pied de terror. But I tell you, kiddies, between the dust and the ghost overruns, your pal the Crypt Keeper's going out of his mind! Which is kind of like the woman in tonight's terror tale. It's about a comic book artist who's about to experience a terrible case of deja vu. I call it Whirlpool.
So Whirlpool also aired October 31st, 1994. They aired 3 episodes to premiere the show that evening on Halloween. It's directed by Mick Garris. Mick Garris has directed a whole lot of stuff. The Stand, other things. The Stand. He directed Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, man. He is a fantastic chronicler of horror in all of its forms and all of its popular entertainment in the 20th century. I've actually went to a screening of a film where he moderated the discussion afterwards. He seems like a fantastic guy. What he is not is a very good filmmaker. He is actually really bad. You mentioned The Stand, the Stephen King miniseries that we got in the early 90s. Perhaps one of Stephen King's most powerful works that he turned into utter garbage. I'm not saying that that's what we're getting here with this particular episode, but I'm just saying he's not the most adept filmmaker. He doesn't really have any visual style that he's trying to work out. Like he's good with setup, 2-shot, reversal, move on. Like that's Mick Garris.
Well, and if you're hoping for a new version of The Stand, boy, you're getting it.
It can only be better. It honestly can only be better.
'Cause it's
yeah.
Could it? Have you seen it?
Like, I'm not gonna. We're talking apples and oranges here. Yeah, that doesn't count, man. Because you know what? Fucking Brian.
No, I'm aware it doesn't count.
Yeah, man. Brian De Palma made Carrie, and that's fucking awesome. And then I don't know who the fuck made Children of the Corn, but that's garbage. Like, you know, or The Mangler or something like that. Like, you get somebody who's skilled and they have a genuine interest in telling that story, they're going to tell it really well. Mick Garris not only directed The Stand, he directed The Shining remake, which is also utter garbage. Like, you just, I don't know. He loves the genre, no question, and I support him in that. He just doesn't have any point of view that elevates what we're supposed to be seeing. Now, having said all of that, Whirlpool, the episode we're talking about today, was not a Tales from the Crypt comic adaptation. It is Vault of Horror. Vault of Horror, number 32, written and drawn by Mr. Johnny Craig, who is a fantastic artist. I will also say that, not to get autobiographical, because I hate when podcasters do that, but the cover of Vault of Horror number 32 was a man standing in a doorway with a cleaver jammed into his head, menacing another person. That was a poster I had on my wall since the age of 12. So as soon as I started rereading the story for this particular podcast, it took me back. But that poster is 100,000 times better than the segment that we end up getting, which ultimately is because of the ending. I was with it up until the end.
Yeah, I don't, I don't get, oh God. So Rita Rudner plays a comic book artist, you're led to believe, up until the very end. And she is essentially stuck in a whirlpool, going around in circles, or it's essentially Groundhog Day. And it's Groundhog Day if Groundhog Day was made by people who don't get what made Groundhog Day good.
Which is funny, because the original comic story, it was about a woman who is moving through a nightmare world where all of these horrible things are happening to her, where she's being dunked in fiery lava, and then she managed to evade that and move on, and then another horrible thing is being perpetrated upon her. It just goes on and on, all these horrible things, and then it turns out at the end she's in an asylum where she's been committed. All of the things that are happening to her are not necessarily innocent, because shock treatment on mental patients at the time is probably a fucking horrific choice to do, but each of the things that were happening to her had a real world counterpart, and she had fantasized it into something much, much worse. And then she realizes at the very end that she's just a psychotic. What we get here, as far as the setup goes, I'm down, man. A bit innovative, interesting. And the other sort of thing I'll say before we sort of delve wholeheartedly into the episode is there are so many stand-up comedians in this episode. Like Rita Rudner is a stand-up, and Richard Lewis is a stand-up, and
Blake Clark?
He's also a stand-up. So much so that when the Crypt Keeper at the opening, which I'm sure you just heard, mentions that this is about a comic book artist, I actually thought he misspoke, and he was talking about stand-up comics, because watching the credits, I was like, oh, this has got to clearly this is about stand-up. Instead, what we get is a period piece set in the early 1960s about a woman who works for Tales from the Crypt, and it's turned into a story that ends up getting her killed, and then she tries to negotiate or navigate her way out of that because it just keeps happening no matter what she tries. I was with it for a long time, man. I thought Rita Rudner, who I usually detest, is really good in the lead. Richard Lewis, another sort of comedic actor that I really like, and I thought he was doing a good dramatic performance. I don't have any problem with the production design of the episode. It's just when we finally get to the payoff is so fucking lame that I'm shocked that it got made at all.
I find it funny that both of the episodes that directly reference the show and or the comic, which is now 2 with Whirlpool and, forgive me for forgetting the name of the Harry Dean Anderson episode that was just
Harry Anderson.
Oh, excuse me. The Harry Anderson episode that is just atrocious. I like how both of the episodes are so disappointing.
And it should be the best, right?
It should, because it's a self-referential piece. I mean, it's literally referencing the comic / the show.
Yeah, man, and we're given a peek into the editorial offices of Tales from the Crypt. They could have totally run with that. For some reason, in this one and the Harry Anderson episode, they kind of obfuscate and just rename characters, some other thing, which I don't understand. Like, who are they offending by having a character named Bill Gaines or Al Feldstein? It's a super misstep. Like, I'm ready to go in this particular case. It's not enough that it's being metatextual in the Tales from the Crypt office. You need to go further than that. And it ends up not being that. It ends up being kind of a rote story about a woman reliving the same day or the last day of her life. And we don't ever get anything out of it.
Well, and I also really do not understand. I don't understand what the hell's going on in the episode, because the twist, it's a revenge fantasy?
I guess.
So the Richard Lewis character feels the way that Rita Rudner's character feels in the comic book that he's writing. He's putting her in his shoes, I guess. And it's a little bit of like revenge fantasy. Like I don't understand, because, and it's not because I'm unable to understand it. It's literally because the episode does a poor job of explaining what in the holy hell is going on at the end.
It doesn't explain a goddamn thing at all.
No, it literally just goes. It just goes to the end, and we're expected to take the ride with them and not question it.
Yeah, I mean, we finally get the turnabout is fair play ending where, as a matter of fact, that Rita Rudner is the publisher and Richard Lewis is the writer, and he's been dreaming this the whole time. And all I could think was, well, fucking who cares? I invested myself into the Rita Rudner character and her struggle to change her fate. But as it turns out, it's got nothing to do with anything. It's just this one male character who's been having the same dream, dreaming about her the way that she, as far as we're presented, is thinking about him. It was just like, okay. Like, I got my hopes were really high for 3/4 of the episode. I thought this is really kind of interesting.
Well, and I like episodes that have female leads, and this one feels a little, it's not offensive, but it feels a little shitty that all of a sudden it turns out that it's not actually a female-led episode.
Not at all. And can we just say the choice to go from a normal-speaking human being and into the wisecracking Brooklynite that she ends up being was wildly out of bounds. Like, it's just like, wait, what? Are you trying to differentiate your characters from one to the other? Because that's not the way to do it. It's really lame.
Yeah, I genuinely look, because the way the episode ends is you think that she's effectively getting her comeuppance, she's at the firing squad, and then it turns out that this is just more comic.
Yeah.
Because you already see they pull out to the comic at one point.
Several times.
And then they pull out to the comic again.
But it ends up being meaningless.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Who cares is the question. Because I'm right there with you. I could have cared less.
You couldn't have cared less. If you could have cared less.
I could not have cared less, any less than I already did, which is 0. Yeah. I couldn't have cared less because I literally care 0. And it's unfortunate because Rita Rudner's great and Richard Lewis is great normally in normal things, not
No,
this.
I think he's good here. I mean, given what he's doing, kind of prick publisher character, I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, but then the twist at the end just in my mind kind of undoes everything.
Yeah, and but again, that's not the fault of the talent on screen.
Oh, no. No one is to blame other than Gilbert Adler, who wrote the screenplay.
He should be ashamed, because I don't know what...
I can't even understand, like, what you're how would you as an actor read this script and go, okay, I'm on board? I would be like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, I need work, and this will do it, and pay my dues for the Screen Actors Guild for the year. Well, why not? It'll be fun. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Sure, no, I get the reality of it, sure. But it's just disappointing. And, you know, like you said, I'm on board with it for a lot of it, and then it just kind of decides that, fuck it.
Here's your twist. Because you need a twist, right? You people like twists? Well, let me just throw one at you. Get it? Okay, cool. No, it's not cool.
Just because it's Tales from the Crypt does not mean it needs a twist.
No.
That's not a requirement.
It's really obnoxious when we get a twist that is completely unearned.
Or forced, which this one is completely forced. So let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Operation Friendship.
A creep from the deep. Jacques Cousteau, you're just in time. I'm about to dive into tonight's tale. Care to join me? Good. Then strap on a couple of scare tanks and prepare yourselves for a cold, wet exploration of my favorite kind of marine life. Croakers. It concerns a couple of boosome buddies who are about to put their relationship to rest. I call it Operation Friendship.
So Operation Friendship aired November 9th, 1994. It's directed by Roland Mesa, written by Rob Ross. It stars Tate Donovan, Michelle Burke, and Peter Dobson. Peter Dobson? No.
Wow.
Okay. Did you like this?
Listen,
There's no way. There's no way.
I like the episode, but I have...
Oh, thank God.
I appreciate what Peter Dobson was doing as far as what his character...
I like Peter Dobson in The Frighteners, but in this it's grating and obnoxious, and I know that's what it's supposed to be, but... Oh, Lord.
The whole thing is kind of grating and obnoxious.
Oh, the entire thing. From Tate Donovan's nebbish character. So the entire episode is Tate Donovan has a imaginary friend who's actually... It's not a split personality, but I guess so.
Kind of is.
And he's having to control this split personality while trying to woo Michelle Burke. Michelle Burke, who plays the Conehead daughter in the Coneheads film. And Peter Dobson's character is just the most obnoxious imaginary friend character. Only one character can see him. He is beyond obnoxious.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm not sure many of our viewers have seen it, but there was a movie called Drop Dead Fred from around 1990, 91, with Rick Mayall and Phoebe Cates. This episode follows very, very closely, which is kind of a drag. Now, particularly because this is one of the rare instances where the episode itself is based on an actual Tales from the Crypt comic, Tales from the Crypt number 41. It was written by Otto Binder and drawn by the amazing Jack Davis. What we got in the story, in the comic, was two friends, one of whom was interested in his medical pursuit, one who was interested in more of an electrical pursuit. Nevertheless, they kind of each become the top of their game as far as surgery and patents and new technology. These guys are such good friends that they're inseparable, to the point of shunning any particular love interest just to hang out with each other. At one point in the story, sort of late in the game, a female character does seduce the surgeon character, and now their friendship is going to be threatened. Maybe it's the electrician. I think it's the electrician, actually. So the surgeon drugs him because he's decided that the interloper woman in their relationship is just there for his money and his body and has no interest in his mind. He takes the other lead and then excises 75% of his brain and puts it in a jar and hooks it up to a machine that he himself created so that he and his friend can hang out forever. And his friend is ultimately in hell, but the wife, as he predicted, has no idea. She really was just interested in his body. She really just was interested in his money. The fact that he is no longer him does not affect her at all. And it ends up with these two characters playing chess where the brain in the jar just wants to die. So much more interesting than what was given to us on screen, which is, a character who is a sad sack at a insurance firm, and he's coming up with all these innovations, and somebody else is taking his credit. There's a new girl who moved in across the hall, and he's kind of in love with her, but his only friend is the Peter Dobson character, who we don't really... I'm sure you felt the same way, Chris. It was pretty evident from the get-go that this guy was not real, right?
Oh, yeah, they don't even try to hide it, right? I didn't think at all,
at
least. She
comes to say hi to the Tate Donovan character, and he's fucking standing behind the door and just, screaming, and she has no reaction at all. And if the intention by the filmmakers was to convince us that Peter Dobson was not a real character, they failed from moment one. Moment one.
Well, and on top of that, it's also what his character is wearing. His character doesn't even look like he inhabits the same world as the other characters. Does that make sense?
100%. I mean, he's in he's in a leopard print smoking jacket with a hardcore pompadour. He seems like he stepped out of, a lesser human being's idea of what the Rat Pack was supposed to be. That's kind of the vibe we get. No human being actually acts that way. But if they did, then they would be real and you could deal with them or not. And what we get here is that character who is clearly a figment of the lead character's imagination. It's never really explained why, other than we kind of get a few lines of dialogue that, when he was younger, he was bullied and he, couldn't handle himself. So this other character, became available to him to help him get through his hardships. By the end of the episode, I kind of like the twist where the Peter Dobson character, becomes the dominant personality in a multiple personality situation. I thought that was fun. There's so little logic to this fucking episode. He goes out on a date with this girl, right? And then chooses the next day not to see her again because he's going to stick with his friend. We cut to his office situation where people are clamoring because what he had promised he could deliver is now nearly 2 weeks late. But we don't ever get the sense that there was a 2-week period when he went out with this girl to now. It seems like it was the previous night, right?
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of way to tell time in the episode.
No time at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of these episodes, similarly to ones we just talked about on our last episode, where there's an inkling of a good idea here.
Yeah.
But it is overwhelmed by every awful thing that you could possibly throw at the screen, and they throw all of it at the screen.
Whatever screenwriter or filmmaker gets hired to do a particular episode, they come up with what they consider to be a monumental dynamic shift, and then that's enough. And then everything else is rote and by the numbers. And we get that again here, and that's a shame.
Well, and how does that work? How did he take him over?
Because he threw him out the window. See?
Metaphorically threw him out the window.
Right, or maybe realistically he threw him out the window.
It's just so dorky and so generic. It's such a generic story to tell about split personality, right? It's a generic story. It doesn't break any new ground on split personalities or imaginary friends.
No, and it feels like the writer and director thought the idea of a split personality was enough and that no further research needed to be done. But in a case like this, all the research needs to be done. We need to believe every single thing about the world that they're inhabiting in order to put our minds aside for this bizarro subplot. And they weren't willing to do that, and that's a drag. Because I wanted to like the episode a lot. I enjoyed all of the performances. Peter Dobson's a bit over the top, but ultimately when you figure out...
A bit, he says. A bit.
He's wildly over the top. Up until a certain point, it just seemed like a dickhead friend character that we all have. We all know that guy. So it was not...
Right, sure.
Yeah, so it wasn't beyond the realm of possibility. It's oh yeah, no, I know that guy who never fucking grew up and wants you to be on his level. Totally understand that. But if you're going to throw the twist in where it turns out that Peter Dobson is fake, you need to suddenly become a very elegant storyteller. And nobody here was interested in that.
Oh, no, not at all. And I personally come down on the side of I think the twist is just lame. I think it's a lame twist. Oh, now he's taken over by the outgoing personality. So now he acts like a prick and he does that laugh. That's just, makes me want to jump out of a window.
That laugh is really obnoxious.
Yeah, and like Tate Donovan's face, just like, you just want to sock him like really hard in the face when he does that laugh.
Not only that, but like he's doing it so much that you can kind of get the sense that the camera's rolling and he's not going to say stop or cut because he's the actor. He just wants to keep going until he gets told that. And the director was just like, I ain't saying shit. I'm going to see how long I can go with him doing this fucking horrible impression of Peter Dobson.
Yeah, Again, we're right back to where we were with the last 2 episodes. Like, is this what Tales from the Crypt has become?
We just reviewed 4 episodes. If you listen to the previous episode of our podcast, I appreciate that. Thank you. But we're recording 2 episodes at the same time. We don't have one supernatural element in 4 fucking episodes of Tales from the Crypt. That is a motherfucking problem.
It is. It is a problem on a monumental scale. And by the way, we're a quarter of the way through this season.
Oh my god, it's so crazy.
Yeah. There's 15 episodes, so we're over a quarter of the way.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, the next 2 episodes, nothing supernatural.
Of course,
either.
Why would they?
I don't
Just
know.
whatever floats your boat.
Because this is a show that the wraparounds feature a talking corpse.
You know what I love? Love triangles. Give me more.
Yeah. Or I love an episode that is coming up that is insanely offensive.
Oh boy,
so
that's exciting.
Well, that's the thing about this show. There are some episodes that haven't aged well. Came the Dawn is one of them.
Oh yeah.
But then there's episodes like this one that are just like, why did of all the stories in Tales from the Crypt, this is the one, and instead of actually adapting the actual story, you just kind of watered it down until it was completely lost any interesting concept introduced in the comic, and you're going to just push it out the door and be like, this is fine.
It's so crazy to think that people would read the comic book. And I fully understand the impetus behind making it your own and spinning it off into your own direction. But, you know, when an episode comes along, or a comic book story that comes along, and you're going to adapt it, and you don't use anything but the name, what are you even doing here? There are other anthology shows. Go make the Hitchhiker on HBO. You'll be better off. It's kind of shocking to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's just, if you want to make a show that's not supernatural.
Yeah, it's not that hard. But if you want to make a Tales from the Crypt television series, if you thumb through any copy of EC Comics, you're going to find those supernatural episodes immediately. You don't even have to look for them. They're right there. So why...
That's what it was known for.
Why dick around and do some other thing? You know what I mean? That was what Alfred Hitchcock Presents is for.
Yeah, and that's where these stories belong. They don't belong in this show. And the only one that I guess you could even make the case is only Skin Deep, because there's a character who's deformed.
I mean, it certainly feels, without the supernatural impetus, more in line with what Tales from the Crypt is supposed to be than the other 3 episodes we've reviewed. Right. So,
yeah, no, I agree 100%. This is not a good... These 2 episodes are not good. Neither one of them.
Skip them.
Oof. Boy. So on the next episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we're going to be taking a look at episodes 5 and 6 of Season 6, Revenge is the Nuts and The Bribe. And Revenge is the Nuts is based off of a story that we've already run into.
Oh, yes.
Blind Alleys.
Blind Alleys. There we go. I'm kind of excited to watch it now.
Because we saw that in the original movie,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's the capper for that film.
Yeah, it was great, too.
Yeah. Very disturbing. I don't imagine we're going to get that again here. But, you know, I'll hold out hope. I know.
Keep holding out hope.
Yeah.
Man, whatever. The episode that I was talking about that's offensive is The Assassin, by the way. That's the one with Corey Feldman in it. And the twist in that episode is just, boy, let's just put it that way. Boy.
I can't wait.
Oh, you should wait. Until then, where can people find you, Father?
Go to YouTube. Search engine. Yacht 5 Films. OUGHCFIVIFILMS. That's me. Quite a bit to choose from there. Also, you can check me out over on Dreams for Sale, the Twilight Zone 85 podcast, the only decent reiteration of the Twilight Zone. And once a month, you can hear me over on the Culture Cast.
And as for me, twitter.com/casualty_Chris is where you can find me. Chronicles FTC on Twitter, and chroniclesfromthecrypt.com. I do a whole bunch of other podcasts. You can find them on Twitter. And big thanks as always to John Kassir, and we'll catch you on the next episode.